Hello. Today I'm gonna talk about the North Node in Taurus. When you have the North Node in Taurus until 23 degrees in the Western chart. So that also means you have Rahu in Aries in the Vedic chart. Today I'm going to talk about trying to combine these two the nodal axis is both in Western and in the Vedic. So this video is about the implications of a North Node in Taurus in particular until 23 degrees. Also, I will talk a little bit about the last 7 degrees. Okay, I will also talk about that because that deserves a special mention, of course. So stay tuned. Now, if you have the North Node in Taurus, in the Western chart, you have the South Node in Scorpio. So the South Node rules your past life, your karma into childhood and your youth. You know, it's the themes of your past life. So they are scorpionic of nature, plutonic. They are plutonic of nature. You came into this life, and it's very intense. A Scorpio South Node is very intense in younger years. Something creates some state of crisis in the person's life, or a transformation. It doesn't. It's very often it is in people's charts who were abused maybe as children or experienced violence at home. So a Scorpio can rule violence in the home, or maybe in younger years. You know, maybe it was fine in the home, but as teenagers they got involved in some very heavy stuff. You know, maybe a bit violent, whatever. Sometimes people with this combination get involved into heavy drugs, so it can have a very destructive effect. Scorpio can be very destructive, right? Pluto is very destructive, very intense, and it creates tension in the body, quite literally. If it's well placed, the person, they could work very hard. They could even inherit money in their early years. Maybe they work in banking or something. You know, not everybody's going to have like a really difficult childhood. But Scorpio, in comparison to Taurus, rules shared resources. Taurus rules your own money, your own house, your own belongings. Scorpio, on the other hand, is shared resources. It's also connected to the masses for that reason. It rules big money, money that is shared in the stock market or whatever, resources that are ultimately being shared. Scorpio can also rule a family or a person who grows up on welfare, being dependent on government resources, or the person can inherit a lot of money. It can be a very wealthy family. But Scorpio is usually extreme. Something will be extreme in their younger years, until 35 at least. It's also sometimes, I've seen it at least in charts of people who transition, people with gender transition. Until the mid-30s, this person might be, it's either until the mid-30s, this could end earlier, okay? But the theme here is shared resources. With the Taurus North Node, you're here to earn your own money. You're here basically to earn your own money, to learn boundaries, to also get to know boundaries between what is mine and what is ours or yours, and there will be conflicts around. There will be conflicts around money. If it's not money, it can be a house or something, an inheritance, stuff like that. And also intense power struggles. Another thing with Scorpio, the person in younger years, they realize they have a good intuition. It's a very intuitive sign. They tend to know what's going on. And the problem with the South Node is that it usually brings out the not so good part of the sign, because you're here to let go of these traits, right? You're actually here, not all of them, you're here to balance these traits, okay? But you're here to let go, especially of the negative traits where your South Node is in, because the more you hang on to that, the more shit will happen in your life, you know. That's where you cannot hold on to. And a Scorpio South Node, so some of the negative traits of Scorpio can be, they can be very manipulative, they can be very black and white thinking, you know, they either love you or they hate you, that kind of, it can be very extreme. The person can be very, or even violent, you know, potentially even violence is very extreme in their emotions, in their passions. Their emotions are not balanced. And that puts the person in a constant state of crisis, which eventually will probably affect their finances, you know, or there's arguments with the spouse about finances, stuff of that nature. So in this incarnation, you're here to learn to let go of this being in a state of crisis. And in real life, there will be real life opportunity. You know, this is not just something in your head. In real life, there will be opportunity to drag you towards Taurus North Node, which is a very peaceful placement. Taurus North Node is it's ruled by Venus, so it's also integrating your feminine, your Venus energy, right? And Taurus, maybe we probably all know, Taurus rules cooking, also cooking, crafty things, you know, like pottery. It also rules construction, the construction business, and particularly building your own house. You know, you might, as you grow older, you might have your own ideas for building your own house. And if you do have that, you're probably here, it will be conducive, your fate will be conducive to doing that. You will have chances to do it, you know, if that's really what you want. It's a very focused position. Both Taurus and Scorpio are very focused, you know. It can be very narrow-minded, but that's okay. You're not here to be all over the place, so to speak, you know, unless you have a strong 9th house, unless there's other factors, of course. I'm just talking about Taurus, Scorpio, and having your nodal axis in here. That can be very narrow, the focus. And the reason Taurus is associated with cooking, for example, and crafts, it also rules singing, by the way, the voice. But the reason is because these activities really pulls the person into the present. So the opposition to Scorpio here is that Taurus is very much in the present, you know. In this life, you're here to enjoy food. You know, Taurus is also sociable, but in a small circle. It's not big party, it's small get-togethers. You know, you are here to learn enjoying the mundane. You're here to embrace the mundane and material things, like just very basic material things like food, music, good company, art, whatever, you know, those kind of things, and your own house probably. Okay. All right. So now I was talking about Scorpio and Taurus. So you're here to let go of being manipulative. Also, if you were involved with the occult in your younger years, it's actually not so good for you anymore. You know, you actually should let go of it. You know, you should not. You're here to learn to be in the present and not create any crisis or whatever. Okay. Now, so that was just the Taurus Scorpio axis, you know, and if your degree is past 23 degree in Taurus, the North Node in Taurus, it also falls into the fixed star area of the Pleiades, so you might want to study that a bit. You know, there's some very difficult stars there, but I'm not going to go into that too much. If your North Node is past the 23-degree, your Dharma here on Earth is just very focused on this Taurus, Scorpio themes. And of course you have to look at the houses. That's equally important. That's just as important, if not more. Yeah, you definitely have to look at the house in which it falls into. But then you don't have, if you have past the 23-degree, you don't have the Aries Rahu. Most North Node in Taurus people will have their Rahu in Aries. And both, according to my research, at least to my modest research, both apply, okay? Both of these nodal axes, even if it's a different sign, it both applies. So, if you have a North Node, if you have a Rahu in Aries and a North Node in Taurus, you're really here to start your own thing. You know, Aries is about themselves, about starting something, being the initiator, being a leader, going your own way, doing things on your own. But the South Node, Ketu, would be in Libra here. So you also have these issues with relationships with Libra, and then also depending on the house that you're in, right? So with Rahu in Aries and a North Node in Taurus, most likely you're here to build something on your own. It could even be your own business, you know. It can be your own small business, but you're not going to get the help of a partner, of a spouse or a romantic partner, which doesn't mean that you won't be married. You know, maybe you will be married, maybe you'll be happy in your marriage, but your partner will be either very independent, or they are not very rich. You know, you have to go out and make your own money. You know, maybe you have a marriage, but the partner doesn't make that much money to support you. It's not possible, and you want to let go of any issues about that. You know, if you do have a partner and he's not supporting you, he cannot support you because he really cannot. It's meant to be that way, okay? And you're meant to let go of wanting that. You're here to earn your own money. You're here to, and with the Aries North Node, you're here to learn not to look at yourself through the eyes of others. With the Aries, with Ketu in Libra, you might have had relationships, you might have met some very selfish partners, you might have had people where you really had to set boundaries, you know. You might have met people who twist everything around, and you cannot rely on their image or their version of the story about you. You know very well it's not true, you know. You might meet people you know very well this person's not good for you, and you really have to you have to learn to judge, possibly depending on other constellations. You have to learn to put yourself first here. In your past life, you were always married, you know, or not always, but at least in the past life that affected your childhood. Now, in this life, you were married. You were you had responsibilities towards others. You could not be there for yourself so much, you know. You didn't have to fight for yourself in such a way. Now you do. Now you have to fight for yourself. You cannot rely on your partner. You cannot rely on becoming more compromising. Maybe you have to learn to make. You have to learn to when to make a compromise. You have to learn the difference between compromising yourself versus making a compromise with a reasonable person, you know, and that could be challenging here. Let me see, what else do I have? Whew, hold on, hold on. So yeah, Rahu and Aries, you're called to step into your own power in this life. You know, you're actually also here to balance Mars and Venus. You could also say that. Because Aries is ruled by Mars and Taurus is ruled by Venus. So you have both of these, you know. You need to balance these energies. So a person who has this combination, you know, they might have been married in their younger years, and now in their 40s, they might be alone, and somehow fate will bring you to. You want to create your own business. You want to create. Also, it can be crafty things with Taurus. It can be related to food. That'll be very conducive. You will have chances to do that, but not in as long as you depend on other people's resources, okay? Also, what I wanted to say, it's getting dark, sorry, it's getting dark. So in a woman's chart, a woman with her North Node in Aries or Rahu in Aries, she needs to learn to integrate Mars energy, most likely. She's too much stuck in the Libra South Node. A woman who has an integrated Mars will actually become more feminine and not less feminine. If her Mars is not integrated, she might appear false, she might appear backstabbing, bitchy, you know. And in a man's chart, it's actually pretty much the same thing. In a guy's chart, he would definitely be called to embrace his masculinity with the Aries North Node and integrate that, you know, and he will become less anxious. He will become more calm and radiate more security. He can in a guy's chart, he can really radiate security and masculinity at the same time if he's here to embrace that. He's here to embrace these qualities, okay? And in the woman's chart, you're here to embrace the Mars Venus and realize that you have to integrate both. If you want to be more feminine, you have to integrate your Mars. If you want to be more masculine, you have to integrate your Venus, you know. If the Mars is integrated here in Aries, the person will not be overly aggressive or, and especially not backstabbing, especially not hypocritical in any ways. They'll be more authentic. An integrated Mars is more awake. The person will be awake and not easily offended, you know, but they can stand up for themselves. They will also not take excessive bullshit, right? So basically this combination is about finding yourself, you know, Aries, finding yourself, standing up for yourself, not being overly dependent on the idea of this happy couple, whatever, doing stuff always together. You know, you can be married with this combination, that's fine, but you're still here to do something on your own. Aries is also very athletic. You know, you might want to you feel drawn to sports or something like that. You have to embrace physical activity, as well as the Taurus. You know, you can do sports, and then in the evening you go out and have a good dinner. I mean, that's basically what it's about. There is more. Really, the shared resources, that's the biggest thing. You know, if you have a partner who doesn't make that much money, it's supposed to be that way. If you're a woman, you know, you have to earn your own money with this and stand your ground, you know, and not do any not engage in any false compromises. That's very important. Because the more you do, the more you will be drawn back, and the more difficult the challenges will become. The more you embrace your dharma, the better of karma you attract. You know, you have an infinite amount of karma. The more you embrace the North Node and Rahu and balance these energies, the better your karma will become, because it's better for your energy body, if that makes sense. So I hope this helped, and let me know what you think, if any of this applies to you. And like I say, you have to look at the houses at least equally, if not more. Okay? Take care.